Welcome to Interior Analysis. I'm Evan Westman,
I'm Jelani Kelly.
and today we're doing a bonus episode. Since it is an election year, we thought it might be fun just to go through a few high-ranking government positions and just kind of spitball what characters from fiction and all kinds of fiction. I mostly did movies, but branched out a little bit. We're gonna just kind of hypothesize which of them might be good in some government positions.
None of mine are gonna make sense. Just a disclaimer. They're not to be taken seriously.
I mean, I haven't seen yours, so
Oh, you're in for a treat.
yeah, I know you said you were gonna maybe go a little out there. I don't want to say mine are
It's an
serious, but I did try to kind of make them people that I actually think would fit at least somewhat into those positions. What we're gonna do is go through each position one by one, and I think we should alternate who goes first just to mix it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna just before we get into each one, I'm gonna read off a quick description because some of our listeners are not from the U.S. and even those who are might not really know what these positions do. I didn't know what a lot of them did, which is kind of bad, but also I guess maybe that's the education system's fault. Maybe it's my own or a combination. I don't know. And also, I'm going to try to edit this out, but there might be some background noise, partly because there are sirens in Philly because there's protests going on, and partly because there is some kind of animal in one of my walls right now. And I don't know what it's doing. I think it sounds like a squirrel is somewhere between my wall and the next door neighbors, and it's doing something.
Did you name it?
I don't want to name it. I wanted to get out of here, but for the moment I can't.
Let one of the listeners name it.
I really hope it doesn't come to that. Hopefully by the time you guys hear this, I don't have to have made a pet out of this raccoon something.
I think peanut butter is a good name.
Yeah, peanut butter might be what gets it out of there, depending on what it is. All right, first position. We're doing the head of the CIA. So, in real life, they're in charge of investigating intelligence matters about and threats to national security. I feel like if you've seen more than a few action movies, you at least vaguely know what the CIA is. It tends to come up. I don't really know what it does, but that was the description I found online. So, anyway, who is your pick for head of the CIA?
Ned from Spider-Man Homecoming.
Okay.
He's the guy in the chair. And hopefully he won't be watching porn. So yep, it's Ned.
Mm-hmm.
Plus he's Spider-Man's best friend. So if the CIA ever gets in their trouble, they just call up Spider-Man Spider-Man, we need help with these terrorists. And that's the end of the terrorists.
Fair enough. That scene when I watched Spider-Man Homecoming, I watched it with subtitles on. I think we got it on an Amazon rental, and that when he says oh, I'm watching porn, for the subtitle it just says the word porn, and that was underneath the scene. It didn't reset to nothing. Mm-hmm. So for there's a whole action scene after that, and the word porn was just it was just there on the bottom of the screen the whole time. Just kind of a weird glitch, but I remember that. Did you have any other justification for Ned as head of the CIA?
Nope, guy in the chair. Teenager from high school as the head of the CIA. It was the best idea I've ever had in life.
Sure, if you want that to be.
All right, your turn.
Yeah, so mine, I'm not going to get too into details with this just for spoiler reasons, but I put the protagonist from Tenet. If you haven't seen Tenet, there's not another name for that character. That's literally their name is the protagonist.
Wow.
It works. I know you haven't seen it yet. And I even people who really wanted to see it haven't seen it yet. So there is a good reason for that. I think he could really handle if there was a threat and no matter how complex it was, I think he could get it under control after a fashion. He's got a brain for that. An honorable mention for this. I did a few honorable mentions for a couple positions. This one I had Rhonda Boney, the detective from Gone Girl, I strongly considered putting her as head of the CIA.
The Gone Girl.
Not the one who goes missing, the detective, the like head
Wait, her
detective
name
who
is
works
Ron?
for her. No, Rhonda.
Oh, I thought
Rhonda
you said
Boney.
Ron DeBomi.
No, Rhonda Boney.
Oh, okay.
That'd be a very different vibe. So next one, I'll go first on this one. So the next one is White House press secretary. So this person communicates on behalf of the president. They kind of, as the name says, they're like in charge of media. I guess what I tend to see them doing most, or whenever I hear about the press secretary, it's like they're giving some statement, usually on like some kind of TV news. But my pick for that was this was a pretty easy one. Jeff Winger from
Oh
Community.
my god.
It's a little obvious, but like that one, I as soon as I thought of doing this, I was like, Jeff would be press secretary.
Did we talk about his 9/11 and then freedom speech?
I think I mentioned it briefly on the last episode.
Okay.
I think 9/11 is bad. I think freedom. Well, I think that's just a little bit better.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
that episode has it rings pretty true in some cases.
even though the person I chose has superpowers, I still think you win this one.
Okay, I don't really have much else justification, so if you want to go,
Yeah.
who's yours?
So Allison from Umbrella Academy, the TV show on Netflix, she has the ability to make someone do whatever she wants if it's preceded by "I heard a rumor." ... So like, I heard a rumor that you didn't think the president was that all of a bad guy, and she could do that. Well, I'm not sure she could do that to the whole country if she was on TV, but I believe
That was going to
she
be my
can.
question. Was like, does it work if they just hear her, or do they have to be in the same physical space?
I think it's the same physical space from what I've seen. She's normally like whispering it directly in front of the person, so I don't know. But she could also just make the president say whatever she wants. Say the president effed up, and he's like, "Oh man, I'm not gonna apologize for what I said." She's like, "I heard a rumor that you actually apologized, and it convinced the whole country," or something like that. I don't know. But I'd rather just Jeff Winger.
I think yours sounds like a good pick. I think maybe press conferences wouldn't, if we can assume that they have to be in the same physical space. Press conferences might not work as well for her, but I think other situations that like other duties of the press secretary, that might be very, very useful.
If they weren't being filmed, she might have a super advantage. Like if everybody in there just had mics and cameras, but it wasn't like a live feed or anything like that. If she could just rumor everybody in the room, that might work better.
Yeah, because like any reporter who's coming in trying to ask like tough questions, she's just like, "Well, I heard a rumor," and they're like, "Cool, problem solved." I haven't seen that show, but
It's all right. The Boys is better. I've compared that and The Boys, and The Boys is. I don't even really care for the Umbrella Academy where it is right now. Like the characters, they all piss me off, except 5. 5 is cool. All right.
Next one, we have Speaker of the House. So this is like the head of the House of Representatives. They're elected by the House. And they're actually, I didn't know this, they're second in line to the president behind the vice president. So like if the president died and the vice president died, the Speaker of the House would take over afterward. So who's your pick for Speaker of the House?
I actually didn't know that last part, but since it had Speaker in the title, I said Black Canary. She has a sonic scream. So if she makes people deaf, then no one can disagree if no one understands each other. So I win.
That would make for some very interesting Congress sessions.
Yeah.
Or very chaotic ones.
Just make everybody's ears bleed, and then they're just all scrambling. And she's just, being Black Canary. That's it.
That might actually work pretty well. Like if you just get the whole house to not show up.
Yep.
It's a card to play.
Send them all. Yep. Scream.
Was she in? I didn't see it, but was she in Birds of Prey
Yeah.
from this year? Okay, I feel like I remember her name coming up.
I don't know why that movie was rated R. It didn't need to be, at all, in the slightest.
Who was her actress? Was that
I don't know right now.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead?
No, that was she was Huntress.
Okay.
No, she
I
was the only black lady on the cast. She had blonde hair.
I'm not remembering that from the poster, but I also didn't really pay close attention to that movie. I just remember Ramona Flowers was in it, aka Mary Elizabeth
Oh
Winstead.
my god.
Sorry, that's how I. That was my like. I didn't really think that looked very good. So, but that's beside the point. My Speaker of the House. This is the first of a. I tried to limit my Game of Thrones characters because, like, literally, Game of Thrones has some positions that basically are the equivalent of government positions. But I put Olenna Tyrell. She doesn't exactly have a role in the show that's similar to that, but like really capable politician and not the most trustworthy person, but I would trust her enough in like a really high powered position. She is a little old, more than a little old, so I don't know that like she would end up becoming president for very long if however it happened president and vice president were killed. That's never happened in US history before, so pretty good chance it wouldn't happen, but I really wanted to put her in a
Wait, who did you
high
say?
powered Olenna Tyrell. She I don't if you don't watch Game of Thrones, you probably don't know who she is.
No, I don't. I know Jon Snow. I know is Daenerys
Daenerys.
mother of dragons, and Tyrion Lannister.
Yeah, that's about who I'd expect you to know. You might know a couple others that, or you.
Oh, King.
I bet there's others
you
you recognize.
The little jerk that nobody liked that wanted to.
Yeah, Joffrey. Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
there was the guy Aquaman played Drogo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he does.
He only. I mean, spoilers, but everyone's seen it by now. Who wants to? He dies after like season 1. He doesn't stick around very long.
What about Jon Throne?
Jon Snow.
No, Throne. The guy that Game of Thrones is named after, Jon Throne.
What?
Game of Jon Throne. He's
I have no idea who you're talking about right now.
He's the secret character in season 9, Evan. You haven't even.
God, I wish there was a season 9.
You don't even know. I'm like 5 moves ahead, Evan. You got to keep up.
I mean, if you can get George R.R. Martin to give us a better ending, if you've got his ear, do what you can.
Yeah, I'll just text him.
Yeah, hit him up after we're done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the next one we have, this one's going to be, there are 3 positions for it. Supreme Court justices. This, for better or worse, has been in the news a lot because we just got a new one. Their job is to hear cases that are like pertaining to the Constitution or federal law, and like if the executive branch, which is the president, or the legislative branch, which is Congress, if they do anything that's unconstitutional, the Supreme Court is kind of there to like
checks and balances.
Yeah, it's their job to say, hey, you can't do that. And I think they also like they have the power to amend the Constitution, or it's not quite like that. I think there's a more complicated process, but like they can evaluate if something is constitutional. I think even if it's not actually spelled out in the actual Constitution.
Aren't there supposed to be 9 of them?
There are. I wanted to only do 3 though. I thought 9 was a lot,
yeah.
but I wanted to do more than 1 for this since it's not just one position. So my 3 for this, again, Game of Thrones. I have Ned Stark. I considered him for a couple positions. I thought this was the best one. I think he's someone who does well when he has a lot of power, but he's very into the letter of the law, but also like can carry it out with the spirit of the law. So I thought he was a good pick for that. My second pick, or do we want to switch off for this one since there's 3?
Sure.
Okay, who's one of your picks?
Judge Dredd. Never seen any of the movies, but he's got Judge in his name, so there you go.
I haven't either, but I think he's like, from what I've gathered, he's like similar to RoboCop. He's like
the law.
Yeah, he's like supposed to be like judge, jury, executioner kind of character, where he's just like,
yes,
you're out of line, boom.
Yeah, your turn.
Okay, yeah, my second one is V from V for Vendetta. I consider just having him as like someone who's just
What the hell?
exists. Have you not seen V for Vendetta?
Isn't he all about anarchy or something?
No, he's about freedom, among other things. Uh,
And anarchy. Is that some of the other
he
things?
could be considered an anarchist, but I think that's selling him short to call him just an anarchist.
Murder,
Yeah, I
vigilante.
guess. You're making it harder to sell him. But yes, like he's he's a guy who understands how like the law should work, though. I think so. I would really trust his judgment. I don't know that he necessarily should be given much more power than the Supreme Court has. I would want him to be checked by other people for sure, but I think his voice on the Supreme Court would be a valuable one. So I stand by my pick.
He probably just kill all the other members of your Supreme Court.
No, he wouldn't do that. He's not like a. He doesn't like rampage. You got to see it. That's on the list. That's like my second favorite movie behind Inception. So at least it it's a contender. So that is going to be one that we do
His
someday.
hair is stupid.
It's a guy. You gotta see it. His whole vibe is a statement. He's supposed to be Guy Fawkes.
His
Like,
math, his mask is cool though.
his mask is so fly. His hair, not
No,
as
he
much,
looks
but
like
it's
a
part of it.
rock star of some sort.
It's supposed to be like the I think it's like the Cavaliers from like
The
uh
Cleveland Cavaliers,
no, like from I don't know what period of England you'd call it. Classical, colonial,
Victorian,
maybe, but I feel like it might be a little later than that. I don't know. 1600s England. He's
post-Victorian.
supposed to be Guy Fawkes.
My turn.
Anyway, yeah, your turn.
I said Miranda from The Devil Wears Prada.
Oh, okay.
Or anyone from the fashion industry in that movie, because judging people seems to be what they do for a living.
Okay, that's not the route I would take, but I see it. I see it. I'm surprised you picked that having just watched it this week. I mean,
I wanted to use
that's
like, if it was up to me, everybody would have been from comic books, and a lot of them you probably wouldn't have understood. So I wanted to use some other recent movies that I had just seen. And this one made sense to put here, especially since my list is very non-conventional.
I think that one I see it. I don't know that I think she has the authority. I mean, or not the like she would put her foot down and stuff.
And the
But
clothes, and her husband,
yeah, I don't know that like
and her assistants.
her expertise really extends to actual laws. But
No, they just judge people for a living, so, judging and judges, same thing.
yeah, no, she'd be at home on the Supreme Court. I think
Yep.
maybe not as at home as she is at Runway, but it would not be anywhere near the worst job for her.
Nope.
So my third pick, I went back and forth with this, but I put T'Challa, aka Black Panther.
Oh, nice.
I think he really is best as a king, like he is in the movie, comics, whatever. I think like that type of position really does suit him best. But like he's got the judgment to make a good Supreme Court justice. He's open minded, and he looks out for people. So I think he would be, and like just like the three that I picked, Ned Stark, V, and T'Challa, all people who kind of know where it's at, I think, in terms of ethics, but also who have like pretty different worldviews. So I think they would balance each other out decently.
Checks and balances.
Yeah. I don't know what parties they would be in, but
The house party.
house party with the three. I'd be down for a house party with the three of them.
All right, my last one, Thanos. Because everything will be balanced as all
You
things
want
should be.
Thanos and Miranda Priestley on the same
Everything will
team?
be balanced as all things should be, Evan.
I get that. I'm just Miranda Priestley and Thanos
She would
having it out.
she would kick his ass.
I think there's a video about Devil Wears Prada where like she is compared to Thanos, not like really compared, but like I think they like talk about making a good villain, and they like compare the two of them a little bit. Very different types of power, but both very powerful villains.
Thanos.
So just read off your three again. Judge Dredd, Miranda Priestley, Thanos is a third of your Supreme Court.
Yes.
Okay.
If I were to add like 1.5 more, it would be half. Perfectly balanced. As all things should be.
I think the point of the Supreme Court is that it isn't even, though. Although we're talking about expanding it, so I don't know.
So Thanos would just probably split one of them in half.
Call it good? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, next one we have the Secret Service. So their job is to defend the presidential candidates, government officials, and visiting foreign dignitaries. I also read up they do some stuff apparently with like finding like fake money or something, like counterfeit money. Apparently that falls under their job, but that's not really what they're known for, and that's not what I based it on. That was just, I had no idea that was part of their job. But for this one, I just took it as who is defending the president and other like high-ranking people. So who is your first pick for this? We had 5 positions for this too.
Antithesis.
Who is that? I don't know who that is.
It's a character of mine, Evan. He's a heaven-born angel character of mine. It's basically undefeatable, so I win. You know I had to sneak one of my own characters into this at some point, Evan.
I considered putting one of mine in a different position.
Yeah.
I don't think that should be off limits. I just found better people than my own characters to put in these spots.
Yeah. Well, what?
Can you elaborate a little bit more? So is that, what was it? A heaven-born angel who something?
So it's a heaven-born. What I created is exactly the opposite of a hell spawn. Think of Spawn, Ghost Rider, any hell-based created character. There are a lot of them out there, actually. So that's hence where his name comes from, Antithesis. He's basically unbeatable in my universe. He's like the 4th most powerful being under God, the devil, and one villain that I made undefeatable. I didn't put the villain on here, but he's like the 4th most powerful character I've made across all of my 11 series. So I win.
So like what can he do? Like on the job, there's someone attacking the president. How does he fight them or stop them or something?
He has an arsenal or an array of weapons to choose from. He has the Grim Reaper's second favorite scythe. He has hooks blessed by the Archangel Michael. He's got some... I don't like calling them knuckles or knuckle dusters, but that's essentially what they are.
Right,
that
brass knuckle kind of things.
Yeah, that can tear out the soul of any being whatsoever.
Wow.
Yeah, I just wrote a short story where he gained those, but it wasn't an easy feat. You know, he had to like beat the gods of mythology and, you know, sit in loneliness for like 4 billion something years, and, you know, easy stuff if you look at it.
Yeah, having him on the Secret Service would be one hell of a deterrent, it sounds like.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to F with the president if he was one of them. One of the people on there. Plus, he can teleport and create portals to different dimensions, so there's that too.
Okay, I don't know if an interdimensional threat
Your mom
would be upon him, but good to have it covered. So
once you see who my president is, you want my president protected. So.
Okay. Something tells me your president is going to be something really weird.
Yeah, no, you're not. I don't think anybody's going to see it.
You're going to have, like, I don't know, Buzz from Toy Story or something like that. I don't know why that's who I thought of, but...
You're not that far off.
Okay, I'm really interested to see who your president's going to be. My first person for Secret Service, and this, I would want them as, like, I don't know if there's, like, a head Secret Service person, but if there is, I would want them to be it. Brienne of Tarth. Another Game of Thrones character.
God damn it, Evan.
I tried to limit it. It's
Evan,
hard though. There's so
I
many
I
obvious picks.
stayed away from the damn superhero characters as much as possible, but you were like, you know what? Game of Thrones.
I only have one more Game of Thrones character after this.
It better not be the president.
It's not. But Brienne of Tarth is, like, for one thing, one of the best fighters on the show. Really good with the sword. But also, she is, like, the perfect type of person to, like, defend a leader. Like, that's kind of her whole deal, is, like, finding a leader that she, like, dedicates her life to. So I would really want her as, like, the head of the Secret Service, because I think, like, she would always be looking out for these leaders if she believed in them. And I mostly trust her judgment on that. She's not always the best judge of that, but often she is. Who's your next pick?
Michael Jordan from Space Jam.
Okay, completely different from the last one.
And no,
you got some dude ripping souls out of people's bodies, and then Michael Jordan dunking on them.
No, it's not. It's not. To be clear, it's not the real Michael Jordan. It's specifically Michael Jordan from Space Jam, even though he played himself. Yeah, specifically from this movie, he beat aliens in basketball, even when they had cartoon physics on their side. Granted, at the end, so did he, but long-armed MJ for the win.
Sure. Okay. I gotta rewatch Space Jam at some point. That's on the list, isn't it? That's like after,
yep.
Is that your?
That's after Circle. Yep.
Oh, so we're gonna be doing that one pretty soon, I guess.
My next one is probably gonna be your favorite, best one out of all of our picks.
My next one for Secret Service. This one's pretty obvious, but I stand by it. John Wick. Like, this guy with a handgun is just unstoppable. So, like, I don't know that he's necessarily the best defender, but, like, if you just give him, if there's someone to take out, he'll take them out.
Yep.
I don't think he would be a bad pick. I don't want him in charge. I want someone giving him orders, but if he can take orders, like, look out, because...
Yep. You don't even need to go into any more detail.
Yeah,
you could have just said John Wick and moved on. That's, yep.
Mic drop.
Pretty much. All right, so this next character, Chicken Noodle. The fictional soup from the Boys universe that Evan created.
Oh my god. I was about to ask. I was like, is this elaborate, because as much as I did have a little bit of headcanon for this character, what do they do?
Oh, I don't know. I just wanted to put Chicken Noodle on the list because they're soup. So, what is your headcanon for Chicken Noodle, Evan?
I didn't have one. I just want them to call it out.
Maybe they've got like noodly arms or something.
Yeah, they're you know what they could be like? They could be like those tree guys, the guys controlling the tree from Last Airbender. He's like got that with his noodles, like extendable arms, just like slapping people, and then like, I don't know, pegging them with chicken, something like that. Chicken noodle, and then like he goes into liquid form, makes people swallow them, and then implodes them with his chickens and noodles, and
give them high blood pressure by feeding them salty soup.
That sounds really gruesome, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, of all the things that I thought you might put, I did not see that coming.
No, I didn't either when I wrote it. So, yeah.
Is that... I don't know how you can get more out there than that.
No, the next one... Well, I'm going to save the next one for the last one because... I'll just say it now. John Wick was also on my list.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that when we were doing this. It was like John Wick on the Secret Service. It's like, it's so obvious.
He killed a man with the pencil, so that's gonna be my fourth. And then I'll let you go, and then I'll do my last after you.
Okay, so I'll do my next two then.
Yeah.
So I had Mulan, partly for fighting skills, partly because she's like a really good problem solver. And I think that might be good for like Secret Service, like, good balance to have there. I don't know if she'd be the most formidable, but I would want her on the team for sure. And next one, this one's a little bit of a cheat code, but Magneto. If there is a bullet coming, he can stop it.
Do you think that's a cheat code? But I gave you an unstoppable god as one of mine.
Fair.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, just, like, if you have Magneto stopping bullets, like, there's not a whole lot anyone can do short of, like, bum rushing the president. Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, right, because they do make those.
Mm-hmm.
I should have put Jean Grey then, because she can stop everything.
Yeah.
Magneto, I feel like Magneto is, he covers a lot of bases.
Yeah.
So that's still, I stand by the pick. Who's your last person?
The top from Inception.
Are you trying to pander to me right now? Like,
so we don't ever know if it fell, so it's got unlimited stamina.
Okay, I thought you couldn't top Chicken Noodle, but you have.
Yeah. Quite literally topped it. Yeah.
Oh my, wow, walked into that.
Yeah.
I considered putting an Inception character on this. I considered having Cobb as head of the CIA. I considered putting Arthur, the guy who runs on the hallways, on the Secret Service, but other people beat them out. The top was never a pick.
Oh,
okay.
Here's an honorable mention I just thought of. Daredevil, but only when he's in a hallway.
Okay, I haven't
People
seen
who've
Daredevil.
watched,
Why?
all of his or a good chunk of his fight scenes happen in hallways for some reason. So it's like a meme online where, like, who would win in a fight, Superman or Daredevil versus Superman in a hallway? Yeah, if the president were in any hallway, Daredevil would probably be his best bet.
I think he does tend to walk through a lot of hallways, so that would...
And just comes across people to fight. Yeah. He's got to be wary of hallways in his own homes. It's weird.
I mean, at the very least, like, if Daredevil's with him, that's a deterrent. Like, don't attack the president in a hallway.
Yeah.
Limits your options. All right, my last pick is Nicholas Angel. It's Simon Pegg's character from Hot Fuzz. Because he's, like, always on guard and always looking out for trouble, which I can see it going too far, but as one member of the Secret Service, like, with some people balancing him out, I think he could be okay. I think paranoia is a good thing for Secret Service members to have, but I would hope he, like, could dial it back in some situations. But I would want him on there. I'm surprised you didn't put Wolverine on there. I was expecting you to put him. I considered him.
Well, my next pick is an X-Man.
Okay.
Not in the Secret Service.
So yeah, we're done with Secret Service. So the next one is the Secretary of Transportation. So that kind of speaks for itself. They oversee national transportation policies. So who's your pick for that?
Nightcrawler.
When you said X-Men, I was pretty sure it was going to be him.
Because he could teleport.
Yep. I thought of doing a teleporting character too. Do you have more for him?
Nope.
Okay. This one's a little bit of a different one for me, like from my other picks. It's a little bit obvious, but I put Phileas Fogg. For those who aren't familiar...
Like me?
He's the character who goes around the world in 80 days. He is very familiar with the transportation systems of the world. Does that mean he could build better roads? Maybe. So I picked him. Honorable mention also, I put Ford Prefect from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He's not really a teleporting character, but he comes up with inventive ways to get from A to B. I don't think he would be the best pick, but I wanted to mention him for that. Okay, next one, we have Secretary of the Treasury. Their job is to maintain a strong economy and create job opportunities. I think this person would do a good job. It may not... I couldn't really think of anyone that, like, really fit that job description, but I put Will Hunting from Good Will Hunting. Really good at math, figure that would help. I don't have a lot of justification for that. He's smart enough that I want him in the president's corner somewhere doing math things. So that's my pick. Who's yours?
Jack Sparrow.
You sure you want him managing it?
He's a pirate. He looks for treasure for a living, right? So he wouldn't betray the country if it benefited him or anything, would he? I don't think he would.
I don't know that he ever really holds on to any treasure for any meaningful amount of time. So I don't know if that's good or bad. He does create jobs, though.
You need a pirate.
He does create jobs.
For Treasury, Evan. If you're going to find the Secretary of Treasury, you need a pirate.
I mean, he's got his compass. So that might be useful.
Jack Sparrow.
You need a job? Try this out, and it'll point you to one.
Jack Sparrow.
I mean, Will Hunting's not the greatest pick, so I'm not gonna argue too much with that. I also I really don't know what character would be good for that job.
Kingpin.
Who?
Kingpin from Dare. You gotta watch Daredevil.
Oh, is that different than Kingpin from Into the Spider-Verse?
Nah, pretty much the same dude.
Okay. Right, because they're both Marvel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I thought the obvious pick for that might be Jordan Belfort. Real guy, but I thought Wall Street people, but then not really. They're not good at managing money. They're just good at making it. And I guess they make jobs, but also not really. So
what about the 21st Jump Street?
The 21st Jump Street?
Yeah.
Just Secretary of the Treasury?
Yeah, just the actual street. No people. Just street.
I mean, sure. I really don't know who'd be good for that job. So
give it to a street.
Sure. I mean, it's as out there as making the top from Inception on putting them on your Secret Service. So sure. Okay. Next one is the Secretary of Education. So they manage funding for schools and drawing attention to major educational issues. I didn't really approach it like that. I did it more just they would reform the education system. Apparently, the Secretary of Education doesn't actually do that, but that's how I approached it. So, who is your pick?
Plankton from SpongeBob.
Okay.
Apparently, he went to college. He had one line about that in one of the earlier episodes. So, he's the best pick.
Absolutely. Yep. College degree, and you can do anything.
No, he never said he got a degree. He just said he went to college. So
okay, so as every person who walks through a campus.
Yep.
So I cheated on this one. I did 3 picks because I really did think. I think they're good ones. I think they would balance each other out nicely. So, Huey Freeman from the Boondocks, Alcatraz Smedry from Alcatraz and the Evil Librarians, and Hermione Granger.
Wait, I thought you didn't see the Boondocks.
I've been watching it for the past couple months.
And you haven't told me anything. I just finished rewatching it.
I think I mentioned it, but I had just started then. I'm enjoying it a lot. But I'm through 1.5 seasons right now.
Keep going.
Yeah. So Huey Freeman for that one is easily the smartest character in that show, but also does his research and I think understands the flaws in the education system in a lot of ways.
You got to see the prison episode.
I don't think I have yet.
Yeah, I know you haven't.
The one that really sold it for me with him was the one where the Christmas one, where he writes the Adventures of Black Jesus, which also I really wanted to see that. I was disappointed that they didn't end up.
That was kind of the
episode
point.
Didn't show it.
It was kind of the point of not showing it.
Yeah, I still really wanted to see it. That one, I feel is maybe the best case for him as Secretary of Education. Alcatraz Smedry, this is a book character. Not the best known series. I love it. Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians is the first book, and I don't know if that's the name of the series, but it's really fun.
Hell of a title.
You know the title?
No, I said hell of a title.
Yeah, they're really fun books. Like middle grade, but like they have some, when I say adult humor, I don't mean like immature. I mean like humor that like you need to be like kind of well read to do. They're kind of a counterpoint, I'd say, to like Series of Unfortunate Events, where they both kind of reference like literature and like make kind of fun social critique in a similar way. Very different tone, but they kind of are doing similar things. I'd say I like them both equally, but the Alcatraz Smedley books I think are funnier. He I think would be really good because he has like interesting views on how students are taught and things like that, like the kinds of things that American schools teach. I think he would make a good pick. Hermione Granger, a little bit of an obvious pick, but also like she's really academically driven and also would do well in like a high ranking position. So I don't think she's a bad choice at all for that job. And I think the three of them combined would really put a good overhaul on the education system and put it in shape. Okay, so next one, Secretary of State. So their job is to be an ambassador to other countries and deal with international relations. Who's your pick for Secretary of State?
Oh, it's your turn.
Oh, it is my turn. Yeah. So my pick is Bilbo Baggins from The Hobbit. He does a little bit in the book that's like similar to the job of the Secretary of State. He like kind of negotiates across cultures a little bit and is like selfless in his negotiations in a way that I think would make him a pretty decent Secretary of State. Honorable mention is Davos Seaworth. Again, Game of Thrones characters, but I didn't not technically my pick. I kind of wanted him and Bilbo to team up, but I didn't want to pick extra for two in a row. So he's an honorable mention. Who's your Secretary of State?
Sherlock Holmes.
I considered putting a Sherlock Holmes character for something. Why him as Secretary of State specifically?
So he may not be omnilingual, but he might be able to decipher and detect what someone else is saying. So Sherlock Holmes.
Okay. I considered him as head of the CIA, but I don't think that actually would be the best place for him. How much Sherlock Holmes thing have you?
Nope.
You haven't actually like seen any Sherlock Holmes things or read any of the stories?
Nope.
Okay. I early high school I went deep into Sherlock Holmes stuff.
I probably have, but I don't remember.
I'm probably gonna put the BBC show. That's gonna be some future episodes.
Which one? Elementary or is there one called Sherlock? Is there one called Holmes?
Yeah, Sherlock is the one. I haven't seen any of Elementary.
Is that with Benedict Cumberbatch?
Yep. Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman. They will always be my Holmes and Watson. I absolutely love the two of them together. Yeah, I don't know when we're gonna do those, but we will be doing that at some point. Next one we have, if you're done explaining next one we have Secretary of Defense. So their job is basically they're the head of all four military branches. The president has authority over them in terms of the military, but they are kind of like the head military voice and they have a lot of control. So who is your pick for Secretary of Defense?
I said the Richmond Oilers from Coach Carter. It's a basketball movie.
Okay.
Sure, they let that last guy make the shot and win the game that sent them home. But if anyone tries that, I don't think they're getting by. Also, if anyone attacks America, if we get the whole country chanting, defense, they're likely to get a boost to everything since they're a sports movie team. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if plot armor is the term, but sports movie teams have something akin to plot armor that allows them to win. Or if they lose, they learn a very, very valuable lesson.
Yeah, they lost.
And are the real winners.
I think their lesson was to not lose. So I think losing in the movie made them stronger. Like a super.
When you started that, I was thinking I was not going to be convinced. I am convinced. I think they could make a solid Secretary of Defense.
For all four military branches.
All four of them. Yep. Put. What are they? A hockey team? Basketball team?
Basketball. I just imagine instead of like somebody flying in a jet, and instead of them shooting bullets, they're shooting basketballs.
It'd throw the enemy off. So it might not be the best choice. It would not be a bad choice, though. My Secretary of Defense, this is a little bit obvious, but I put Odysseus from Greek mythology. I mean, it was his idea to use the Trojan horse to invade Troy. Like, it's a pretty solid thing on your resume. I thought about doing Tony Stark. That was, like, kind of the other obvious pick for it. But then I read, like, what the Secretary of Defense actually does, and I don't think Tony Stark would be a good one. Odysseus is, like, smart enough in a military sense. I think he would do pretty well. But also, like, he's cultured enough and, like, compassionate enough that I think he would also know. He wouldn't just be like, blow them all up or whatever. Like, he wouldn't be that kind of general. Okay, so now we're down to the last two. We have the vice president. So they are the tie-breaking vote in the Senate, and they represent the president, or like the executive branch in some cases, and the obvious duty they have is if the president dies, they're the next president. My pick, last Game of Thrones character, Tyrion Lannister. I did not want him in too high of a position. I considered him for several spots, but in the end, I thought vice president worked for him. I think he would be a good counter voice to my president. And I think he knows how to play politics very well. And I would rather he be behind the scenes rather than the actual president. But if it came to it, I think he could make a good president. I'm hesitating when I say that because he's not like the most noble of people, but he's very intelligent and he has capacity for goodness. So I would be a little bit hesitant, but I think he belongs in the room. So he's my VP. Who's yours?
Tony Stark. He's big-brained.
I think he might end up stealing the spotlight a lot.
No, not when you see who my president is.
Oh, okay.
Plus, the president will never be in trouble because I have superpowered people and the top from Inception protecting the president. So,
and now apparently 50 Iron Man suits. Depending on where Tony Stark's at. Like, is this pre-Iron Man Tony Stark?
No.
Or is this, like, Iron Man 3 Tony Stark, Age of Ultron Tony Stark?
All of them in one.
All of them? So we've got, like, Iron Man 3 amounts of Iron Man suits with Avengers Endgame Iron Man technology.
Yeah.
Okay, solid. I mean, the White House is pretty safe then.
Yeah.
Unless it gets nuked like Iron Man 3. But
nope.
Hopefully that won't happen.
You forget we have a basketball team protecting our country, so.
Oh, I forgot. Sorry. Yeah, the White House is secure then.
They'll just throw a basketball at the missile.
Not today, Satan. Okay, if we're done with that, we only have one left. So, I don't think we need a real explanation for this. Who is your president?
Gurr from Invader Zim.
I don't know who that is. I know of Invader Zim.
Look up a picture.
Okay, I've seen pictures of this guy. He's like
He has
a little gray robot dude.
He has a paper clip and like a rubber ball for a brain.
And this is the man you want running the United States.
Yes.
Do you care to justify yourself?
He's the best character of all time.
Okay, I can't say that I disagree because I haven't seen it, but sure. How do you think he would do running the country?
So Tony Stark would be actually running the country. Gurr is just a figurehead, but he's an adorable figurehead. So he would keep the country distracted while Tony does the real stuff.
Okay, so say we have to negotiate with Kim Jong-un.
Well,
What is Gurr's tactic?
probably squeal. Squeal at him, and then run away.
What kind of executive orders is Gurr giving out?
Probably give everybody free candy and stuff, and solve the homeless hunger problem.
Okay. Not the worst use of tax dollars. Probably not the best, but
There's been worse.
there's been a lot worse. Yeah. Do you have more justification for him?
He needs no justification, Evan. It's Gurr.
Okay. I'm gonna trust that people who know who Gurr is are backing you up, but I don't know anything about him, so I can't.
Probably not. This choice makes no sense. I'm aware of it.
I kind of got that, but I not knowing anything about him, I can't really argue with you. So, yeah. All right. So my pick for president, I kind of knew, not immediately, but as soon as I thought of them, I settled on them. Professor Minerva McGonagall from Harry Potter. I sincerely think she would make a good president.
Who?
She's the older lady with the hat. You'd probably recognize her when you saw her. The actress is Maggie Gray. She's been in Downton Abbey and Home Alone 2, I think she's in, with the current president, ironically enough.
Oof.
Yeah, oof. Weird how they picked the wrong actor for that.
For the president?
Yeah, I sincerely think that Professor McGonagall would make a really good president. She runs Hogwarts really well. I think she knows how to keep to the letter of the law and when to break from it and keep the spirit of the law. I think she looks out for like all of her students. She would look out for the country really well. Hell of a negotiator. And like she might not be the warmest figurehead. I don't see her like she doesn't have like a ton of charisma necessarily, but she does command respect. So I stand by that choice. And I think she and Tyrion Lannister as a team, like they don't really see eye to eye. I don't think they've never obviously interacted, but I think they would balance each other out really well. I would want McGonagall to have final say over him though.
I have an honorable mention for president. A Thomas the Tank Engine VHS tape. Just the tape.
Write-in vote? Yep.
No cover either. No cover for
No.
the
Oh.
VHS tape. It's signing papers and stuff in the office.
That's a take.
It'd be just as efficient as Gurr.
I'll take your word for it. I just heard the other day I found this remix of Thomas the Tank theme with X Gon Give It To You.
You just now heard that?
Has that been around for a really long time?
I'm glad you found it, but it has, Evan.
I just found it like 3 days ago. I had a couple, I guess, honorable mentions for other positions too. I didn't really know where to fit them in, but I think they'd be good. Vito Corleone, aka the Godfather. Lisbeth Salander, aka the girl with the dragon tattoo.
These are for president?
No, this is just like in general. Like I'd want them in the government somewhere. I just didn't find a good spot for them based on the ones we did.
Oh.
Furiosa from Mad Max Fury Road. Louise Banks, which is Amy Adams' character from Arrival. Lord Varys from Game of Thrones. Like I felt like he was a little bit of a cheat code.
You're
though,
not
because
allowed to mention Game of Thrones past this point on any of our other podcasts, Evan.
I mean, I was planning to do one, but you haven't seen it, so I wouldn't have expected. I wasn't going to make you watch the whole show. And then my other two, Tony Stark was one that I considered. And then the only reason I didn't put this character anywhere is because it's actually a real person, Molly Bloom from Molly's Game. I considered a couple real people, but I was like, with Kanye trying to run and stuff, I don't think it's a good idea to like actually talk about real people running for president because they might. So careful what you wish for.
What about the spider web from The Amazing Spider-Man 2 that failed to save Gwen Stacy?
Failure is the best teacher. Also, it's still connected to her. That might be a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if we want a spider web on Emma Stone's corpse.
I just imagine it standing at the podium and Emma Stone playing dead next to it on the ground.
We are going to bring this country into a new tomorrow, guys. best administration ever.
No, the country's not lasted 24 hours under my choices.
Nah. I mean, I was like kind of serious about most of mine. The Department of Transportation might not really be in that good of shape under Phileas Fogg, but I think the rest of mine, like, that might be a solid government. I think there is some things to be asked for. I don't know that Jeff Winger could be bothered to get up and give speeches every day, but if he's getting paid for it, and I mean, he does it for free, so I don't know how the nation would feel about him talking about friendship all the time, but...
Well, he could talk about freedom. America.
He could. Yep. 9/11 was bad. Freedom's a little bit better. I don't know, though. Maybe, if he can bring the Greendale 7 together, maybe he could unify the country around something.
I'm sorry, I'm still picturing a basketball player throwing a basketball at a nuke.
That's like, now you got me thinking of Tommy Wiseau throwing the football like he does in The Room. Just like him negotiating with Kim Jong-un. I should have put Tommy Wiseau somewhere on there.
Because he is a fictional character. You think?
I mean, kind of. People know him as a fictional character, but like they also know the fictional character just as him. Mm. So meetings would be interesting at the beginning as everyone's coming in. Hi, Danny. Oh, hi, Mark.
No.
Hi, Lisa.
No.
No. Yeah, that's the end of our picks, but for people listening, send in yours too. I don't know exactly when this is going to come out. I don't know if I want to put it out on election day because a lot more important things are going to be happening.
See if you can go more ridiculous than my choices and justify them.
I think people are going to have a hard time of that. I mean, I was expecting some ridiculous choices. You exceeded my expectations.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. We both came into this with very different goals, I think, but
my goal was to stun you with the choices, so I think I achieved that.
Yeah, you did. I made an okay government, I think. It's probably better than the one we have. I don't want to, throw too much shade at any particular politicians, but my Supreme Court could get us moving more in the right direction. I don't know about totally. Secret Service, I think mine would do a good job. My cabinet might have a little bit lacking. We'd get some good Winger speeches, and we'd get some great digs from Professor McGonagall.
I think the dancing scene from Spider-Man 3 should be somewhere in the government as well.
You know what I've been finding? There's these people who will cut, I think they call it Bully Maguire, into certain scenes from other movies. So it'll be like, Bully Maguire has the high ground from Revenge of the Sith or something like that.
Why?
Or like Bully Maguire almost kills Thanos and stuff like that.
I've seen that.
I'm going to put some dirt in your eye.
It's so weird.
Where should the dance scene go? Let's throw that in real quick. Speaker of the House, Spider-Man 3 dance scene.
I'm thinking probably defense. If the basketball team doesn't work out, like if they split up or something.
Department of the Defense?
Yeah, if they split up, then we need a backup. So put in the scene from Spider-Man 3, and I think we should be good.
Right into battle with that James Brown needle drop playing.
So I imagine if
it's a good song.
If a nuke were to drop in, I think that scene would just pelvic thrust it back into the
snap at it and weird it out. It's just like, guys,
just turns back around.
I'm not dealing with this, guys. Give me another cookie.
Well, this was
solid Secretary of Defense.
Yeah. This was delightfully weird, and I think this was a much needed break from the real world. My world wouldn't exist because it ended up getting blown up in a week.
Well, seeing as you have a still spinning top defending the president. We don't know if yours is reality. I think we can safely say that it's not.
Unlimited stamina, Evan.
Unlimited. I love that that was your justification, though. It's like the top, but it never runs out of energy. Okay, I'll run through a quick boilerplate, I guess, just before we close out, unless you have anything else for this.
I wish I did. I would have put more honorable mentions, but nah, I'm good.
Throw in a few if you get any ideas. Peter Porker as head of the CIA.
No, just the moistness from his hand. Not even him, not the hand. The moistness from his hand.
The water from his
No,
hands
not even the
running
water.
CIA.
The moistness.
The sweat from his hands
Yep.
running the CIA.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone's gonna want to mess with the CIA.
Nobody's gonna want to touch him.
Nope. Everyone hates the word moist, so that's a deterrent.
From now on, I might just throw in, if I ever just come up with something, I'm gonna just in future episodes you're just gonna hear me say, the heel from Devil Wears Prada. We'll be doing like an episode on like, I don't know, Space Jam, and you'll just hear me say that out of nowhere. I'm still thinking about the most ridiculous things for government positions. So.
Well, to segue us, our next episode will be on Devil Wears Prada.
Oh, that's crazy! You see what I did there? That's so
teed me up.
So
I had to take it.
Alley-oop, you like the basketball team?
Yep. Boom. Full circle.
Yep.
We got Miranda Priestley coming in here. We got what's their faces basketball team coming in here, stopping nukes with Bully McGuire and James Brown. This is a utopia right here, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got Devil Wears Prada next. After that, we've got Circle. I know we've been saying we're going to do those for a while. We really are.
Yeah.
We just had The Boys come out, and then we decided to do this. But we really are doing Devil Wears Prada next, and then Circle after that.
Yes.
And yeah, our logo's by Kelsey Hendry. You can rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. We have our YouTube video on A Star Is Born up, and there are more videos coming. You can follow us on Twitter at INTAnalysis18. You can follow me on Twitter at Davos Watson. And where are you at?
I'm at Jelani T. Kelly on Twitter, at Based Phoenix on Instagram. And we just got our first emote from my Twitch channel. To give you a reason to subscribe. It's a picture of Lux, and it's got the word hype behind it. So go over to my J-Based Phoenix on Twitch and give it a subscription. Use your Amazon Prime, connect that to your Twitch, and then use that free, you get one free Twitch subscription. So go ahead and use that on your boy, and then get access to that emote.
Yep. All right. So yeah, go. I don't know when this is coming out, but if you haven't voted, go vote. And part of me wants to say impartial. Just vote for Biden, guys. Please. Whoever wins, we're going to stick around. Yeah. See you guys later.
Bye.